I imagine, and this is just me speculating, is that we're going to see situational defense. We're going to see, if it's 3rd and 1, it's going to be TJ Edwards. And, there's going to be a lot of moving back and forth, maybe like a 5-2 or something like that. Getting edge rushers, maybe Nakobe Dean rushes a little bit. He's good at that. Maybe they blitz a little more with Nakobe Dean. I don't know exactly what his role is going to be. I don't know if he can stay healthy, which I suspect is probably why he dropped to the 3rd round with his size and the physical way he plays.
You got your Bird 65 boys. John McMullen and Jody McDonald, joined by another one of our faves. He's lounging. He's relaxing. He's chillaxing, as a matter of fact, on a nice May day here in the Delaware Valley. Les Bowen, where are you doing your spot from, Bowen?
I'm on the screened-in back porch here in my palatial estate in South Jersey. And, got the garage back there.
I was wondering if you were down in North Carolina.
I was last week with my mom, but I'm back now. So.
All right, yeah, beautiful South Jersey.
It is nice here. It really is.
Yeah. Jody's a Marlton guy. I'm a Stratford guy. Les, do you want people to know? I know.
Oh, sure. I'm in Haddon Township, right near
Haddonfield,
yes. Kind of right in the borderline between Haddon Township and Haddonfield.
The PJ Willahans, I'll give them a pre-plug.
There you go. Yeah.
Do a little pickup at PJ Willahans. Too many pre-plugs today, Les.
You guys have a lot of commercials. I was you're raking in the dough there.
Yeah, well, somebody's raking in the dough.
Jody and I are.
I'm not exactly sure who that is, but hey, Les, we haven't had you on since the draft. Like everybody else, we gave ours. We need yours. Howie Roseman's draft, heavy on the quantity, a little less on the quality. Moved up aggressively, got their guy to play nose tackle, got their superstar wide receiver, but only 5 draft picks. Grade for Howie Roseman for the job he did draft weekend in upgrading the Eagles' talent on their roster.
Well, I always hate these grades because we have no idea, but B plus. I didn't like the idea of ending up with 5 players. You mentioned that. And again, he didn't get a corner, which I know you guys were talking about Bradbury right before I came on, but 2 years in a row, I would have laid heavy money on the Eagles getting a corner sometime in the first 2 days of the draft.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened either year. I'm at a loss now. It's been, I think 2015 was the last time they spent a 2nd-round pick on a corner, and that was a guy that was Eric Rowe that was playing for the other team by the time they got to the Super Bowl. And, 2002 was the last time they took a corner in the 1st round, which was Lito Shepherd. I don't disagree necessarily with anything they did. Their explanation on Cam Jurgens instead of a corner in the 2nd round was that they had him rated much higher than any of the corners that were left. And I guess I can accept that. You don't want to force a position. That's how you miss great players. But they had to make all those trades the first day to move up for Jordan Davis and then to get Brown. They would have had some ammunition to move up in the 2nd round, the 2nd day, and maybe they could have gotten a corner, I think that's a huge that's the only reason I wouldn't give him an A. I mean, I liked a lot of the things. I don't have anything against any of the guys they drafted. I think, they did some interesting and pretty solid things there. Getting to Nakobe Dean, I think, was tremendous in the 3rd round. But no corner. They're one real corner they have on their roster that, we know can play in the NFL is 30 years old, Darius Slay. I think this is a problem going forward, frankly.
Yeah. And you're right, Les. I know we were all perplexed last year with Zach McPherson in the 4th round, and then the Eagles were acting like, no, we're good with Zach McPherson. And then 2 days, I think it was 2 days before training camp, Steve Nelson showed up and was, first team drill starting corner and basically never left. So I find it very hard. They're going to go into a season and say, it's your job, Zach McPherson, or it's your job, Tay Gowan. What they do have, though, is numbers at corner.
Yeah.
They have a whole bunch of bodies, so a whole bunch of darts. Where safety, they don't have a whole bunch of bodies. It's Anthony Harris, it's Marcus Epps. You can argue Kayvon Wallace. Howie Roseman brings up Andre Sacheret, but he's a special teams player. They brought in Reed Blankenship as an undrafted free agent. They don't even have darts at safety. Should we be more concerned about safety than cornerback even?
I haven't been, because they brought back Harris, and I think Epps is really pretty decent. But you're right, the depth isn't there. But you can pick up. I think you can pick up backup safeties that aren't bad, or easier than you can pick up somebody who's going to be a starting corner, But yeah, that's something they still need to work on as well, and I think they will as they move forward here. The numbers at corner, they do have some guys. They keep saying they really like these guys that they have, that they picked up, the odds and ends that they picked up here and there, and some of them do have interesting backstories. Guys that maybe weren't high draft picks because they sat out a COVID year and then went into the draft or something like that. It's possible that they'll mine some gold nugget out of that, but I would much rather have a known quantity there.
Les, I think we all realize that the Eagles want to throw the ball more this year. If they didn't, they wouldn't have gone out and gotten A.J. Brown and paid what it costs to get him and what it costs to sign him. So we know they want to throw the ball that much more this upcoming year. Easier said than done. Just got to call the plays and believe in your guys. Stretch your faith. Their actions do speak louder than their words will. But at some point, they're actually going to have to pull the trigger on the field. Is this what the head coach would prefer to do, or do you think he is tempted by the success he had last year at running the football as often as they did?
I think it's what he wants to do, and I think that's what everybody wants to do in the NFL. You want to score points. You want to score points quickly. You need to have a pass-based offense to really win big in the NFL. The variable is Jalen Hurts. I mean, they have everything else. They have an offensive line that ought to protect. They have plenty of receivers, plenty of weapons. Do they have a quarterback who can make that work? They tried to do it early last season, and after the opener, it was not working. And that's why they shifted to more of a run-based offense. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what they end up doing, but definitely with A.J. Brown, you want to get the ball to him, and you want Devontae Smith in his second year. You want to see progress from him, and Dallas Goedert, and you've got that's where your money is right there. So that's where you want to go.
Does it help at least a little bit less that AJ comes from an offense that was also run heavy? Well, arguably the only more run heavy offense in the Eagles, at least when Derrick Henry's healthy. So he's kind of used to being a good receiver that probably doesn't get the ball as much as he should. Is that helpful at a position where, let's face it, if you look around the rest of the league, there's a lot of divas. It's a selfish position, I'd like to call it. Everybody wants the football.
Right.
A.J. Brown's used to it.
That's a very good point, John. I think that is one of the things that attracted them here, is that he does understand, that he's played with a quarterback who isn't, Matt Stafford or Aaron Rodgers, or, I think he kind of gets the whole deal, and I hope he does anyway. And that his first year with Jalen Hurts is probably going to be a little up and down. They don't really. I mean, they're friends and they've worked out together and all that, but they haven't really played that much. They haven't played any together, and Jalen Hurts is very much a work in progress. He's probably he is the biggest variable going into this Eagles season. The biggest reason. I mean, if you could guarantee me that Jalen Hurts would be in the conversation for the Pro Bowl this year and that he would take a solid step upward from last season, I would probably guarantee you that the Eagles would make the playoffs again, and probably with a better record than last year. But, we don't have that guarantee.
Les, do your wind chimes on your palatial estate ring when you're accurate or when you're inaccurate? When you're making the correct point, do we hear the wind chime? Or when you're off base, is that when the wind chime? How is the wind depicting what Les Bowen is telling us here on Birds 365?
I think every time the wind chimes chime, a cornerback gets his wings.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was Mr. Salty coming around the neighborhood a little bit early.
No, that's always the Mulberry Bush. That's the only song they have on that truck, and you get real tired of it quickly.
Little early for Mr. Softy. I'll go by noon, but 9:35, I can't go Mr. Softy just yet. All right, Nakobe Dean fell to the Eagles in the second round of the draft, third round of the draft, excuse me.
Yes.
I think it could be the steal of the draft a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Edwards did a nice job for this team last year. John and I debate this a little bit. I think Dean is going to become their starting middle linebacker, and they're going to have to move Edwards a little bit. I think he's going to be on the field about 80% of the time this year. He is proclaiming his health. He says the pec thing is no problems. We know he's had knee injuries before. Cross my fingers he doesn't have them this year. Does he have a chance to be the biggest contributor for the Eagles rookie-wise this upcoming season?
That's a good question. Because Jordan Davis will be playing in a rotation and Cam Jurgens isn't going to start probably. That's an interesting thought. He does. I wouldn't throw out TJ Edwards, though. I think what I imagine, and this is just me speculating, is that we're going to see situational defense. We're going to see, if it's 3rd and 1, it's going to be TJ Edwards. And, there's going to be a lot of moving back and forth, maybe like a 5-2 or something like that. Getting edge rushers, maybe Nakobe Dean rushes a little bit. He's good at that. Maybe they blitz a little more with Nakobe Dean. I don't know exactly what his role is going to be. I don't know if he can stay healthy, which I suspect is probably why he dropped to the 3rd round with his size and the physical way he plays. I think maybe teams were sort of, he's a good player, but how often are you going to have him available? Is he going to have a long career? Those kinds of things. So I don't know if you want him to play 80% of your snaps. I think he might get kind of worn down if he did that. But there's a decent chance he's the impact rookie. That's a good thought.
Let me whittle it down to 3rd and 7, Les. So it's 3rd and 7. You kind of know the reason why I'm doing that is you can still run the ball. If you put dime out there, if you go completely, you can run the ball, you can draw, you can pick up a first down. So you're going to want 2 linebackers on the field in nickel. I think one has got to be Kaiser White because he's the hybrid safety sort of coverage player. Then in that type of situation, do you think 3rd and 7, week 1, it's going to be Nakobe Dean, or it's going to be more of a ramp-up process? And let's use TJ first. If Nakobe proves himself, maybe second half of the season, we'll see more Nakobe Dean.
Yeah, it's going to be somebody that understands the defense really well, and I think that's going to be the key. We're going to have to go through training camp and see how Nakobe Dean's learning process works, and and things like that. It's really impossible to say. You're right about Kazir White, but we've gone through this a few times with the Eagles where they've not drafted, but they've gone out and gotten a linebacker in the offseason, and we thought this will be the guy. And then, September comes and it's like, well, that guy,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not really paying Kazir White, I hope he turns out to be, what they signed him to be, but it's entirely possible that, Davion Taylor or somebody like that is going to end up being the other linebacker. I don't know. I mean, we're a long way from making those. I know it's fun to talk about right now, and I don't mind talking about it, but reality, there's many bridges to cross here.
Russ, John gave you a very specific situation. I'm going to do the same. He went week 1, 3rd down and 7. I'm going week 10 before the game ever starts. The Washington Commanders are coming into town to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. And let's say the Eagles defense gets announced, which means the Washington offense gets announced, which means Carson Wentz will be introduced and run out of the tunnel for the Washington Commanders. Give me the percentage breakdown, boos to cheers, when Carson Wentz's name blasts through the PA at Lincoln Financial Field.
Oh, I'm going to say 70% boos. I think at this point, people are really down on Carson. When he left, I don't think it was nearly as high, but I really think what happened in Indianapolis last year has further, sullied his image here, even though it worked out well for the Eagles in getting the first round pick.
Yeah, they should be happy.
Yeah, but that's not how fans
I
think.
know. I know.
The fans are thinking this cements it. This guy's a bum. If you really ask me what to predict what's going to happen, is Carson Wentz going to be healthy by that point?
That's what I said. I said it's very unlikely that if he is healthy, he might be benched as well. You got to throw that in.
This is going to be fascinating to me. Somebody said yesterday, this is his last chance to prove he's a starting quarterback. I think that's certainly true. After this, he becomes a guy that kind of roams around, and you bring him in with another guy and you hope you can get through a season or something. But maybe he makes it work here. It was working at times in Indianapolis, and then they had that horrendous finish, and that just killed everything. I think with a lot of owners and a lot of teams, he would have gotten another chance. But I think Jim Irsay was so disappointed in him off the field with the vaccine thing that really kind of was the start of the problems they had down the stretch when he, got COVID and had a horrible game, even though he was cleared. I think a lot of places they'd still be hoping that he came through this year in Indianapolis, but Irsay got him right out of there, and now he's kind of like everyone is saying, he's kind of on his last go round as a starting quarterback. I don't think Washington's going to be that good. He has a really good receiver in Terry McLaurin, but it's not a team. He hasn't shown since 2017 that he could really elevate a team, and that team's going to need elevating, frankly.
Now, week 4, I believe, Doug Peterson returns to Lincoln Financial Field. Now, that's going to be all love, right? Nobody's booing Doug Peterson.
Nobody's booing Doug. No. That's, he's he won the Super Bowl for this franchise, the only coach to ever do it.
Howie and Jeffrey might disagree with you, but I agree with you.
Yeah. Nobody's going to boo Doug Peterson. And the fact that it's probably a game the Eagles should win is going to, there won't be a lot of animosity around that whole situation.
Now, what if the Jaguars upset the Eagles? We're all talking about this Eagles schedule. They're going to start 4-0. It's easy,
right?
Which I don't believe. They're going to lose one of those.
There's no way they're going to start 4-0. I'll tell you that.
They're going to lose to Minnesota or Carson Wentz at Washington. That would be my guess. But if it's Jacksonville, and God forbid it's 2-2, Well, how much heat is Nick Sirianni getting if he loses to Doug Peterson in the Jags?
A lot, because then you're heading into a tougher stretch of the schedule. I don't have it right in front of me, but you got Arizona,
Dallas,
Dallas, you know, it's, you know, it's, you got to get off to a 3-1 start with the schedule they have. I think I would say you're looking to have 10 or 11 wins this year. I mean, I think that's a reasonable expectation if they find a corner somewhere. You know, 2-2 would be a bad start. And there'd be some heat on a lot of people, probably Jalen Hurts, probably Nick Sirianni. It'd get real interesting if this season didn't turn out to be what we're thinking it will be right now.
All right, let's track the owner, since John broached his name, Jeff Lurie.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Lurie said on the day that they announced that Doug Peterson would not be back as the head coach of the Eagles, that the Eagles were going into a transitional period.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good for a transitional period to have a winning record and to make the playoffs. So the transitional year went well. This year, when we heard from the owner, he said, we're trying to serve two masters, both get better right away, but also have an eye on the future, that we want to stay good for a period of time. With what Howie Roseman has done this year to this point, have they achieved their goal? Have they done both, gotten better for 2022, but also kept an eye enough on the future that this team should be a playoff contender for the next several years to come?
I think they're moving in that direction. I don't think that's proven yet that they're going to be a playoff contender for years to come. A lot of that depends on the quarterback, Jody, whether they have a quarterback or not, you know. But you see, like the move that I criticized, the Cam Jurgens move, that's a future move, you know. And Jason Kelce says, yeah, this is the guy. This is the best college center I've seen in the last 5 years. And Jason Kelce, I'm going to say, knows these things, you know. Mm-hmm. So they have, and on defense, you know, they've gotten, looking at their defense a year ago, I was like, holy crap, they're not very good and they're old, you know. They have brought in younger talent. It's not done yet. They still need more young talent on that defense, especially a starting corner. But, you know, it's getting there. I think, you know, you can't really criticize too much anything they've really done the last 2 years. They haven't drafted a Jalen Reagor or, you know, they haven't done anything horrendous. They're moving forward. It's just they're a long way from the finish line, I still say. But, you know, they're moving forward.
Now, with the Cam Jurgens pick, Les, what the Eagles would argue, and, you know, part of it, go back to 2020 when they drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. People called that a luxury pick. Now, that's a little bit disingenuous because, you know, part of the reason Carson Wentz, we can debate percentages, but fell into a funk had to do with the Eagles drafting Jalen Hurts, but he turned out to be anything but a luxury, and I'm talking about Jalen. Mm-hmm. Last year, it was Landon Dickerson. Everyone said, what are you drafting Landon Dickerson? He's hurt. Right. He's a luxury. And all of a sudden, he's needed. Now he's entrenched as the left guard of the future. And now people this year are saying Cam Jurgens is a luxury, and I understand why. But today's luxury turns into tomorrow's necessity pretty quickly in this league.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, Jason Kelce seems to be laying some breadcrumbs that this really might be it.
Right.
I think it is. Yeah, I don't think there's any. I think he's made it pretty clear. But, yeah, go ahead.
So if that's the case, it's probably not a luxury. Are the Eagles taking a little bit too many knocks for the Cam Jurgens pick, especially when you see what happened with Jalen Hurts and Landon Dickerson in prior years?
Yeah, I didn't, you know, it's not the worst thing that ever happened. I'm just saying they needed a corner, you know, that's to start this year. But yeah, I don't, if their evaluation of Cam Jurgens is correct, you can't really criticize drafting a starting center. There was a time during the Andy Reid years, position valuations change. under Andy Reid, the center was kind of an afterthought. Hank Fraley, knocked around. He'd been with the Steelers and he came here. He was just a guy they created, Jamal Jackson was undrafted dude that they kind of built into a center. That's kind of not the way it's gone since Kelsey took over, and during the Kelly, Peterson, Sirianni regimes. I think what they've been telling us is, center's pretty important to us in the way we're doing things now. The leadership, they have the center call out the protections and who the mic is and all that. And, I guess it's a more, you don't draft one in the first round, but you can certainly, countenance drafting one in the second round. Even though Kelsey was a 6th round pick, you can't count on that. You can't count on getting an all-time great in the 6th round. So I don't lambaste them for doing that. I'm just saying, in a perfect world, that would have been a good spot to get a corner.
All right, let me be a good team player here. Since we talked about we're all South Jersey guys and where we all call home and are broadcasting from right now. John's a little further south than you are, Les. Mm-hmm. So for the Giants and the Eagles this year, carpooling you and McMullen, he picks you up because it's on the way, but you got to pick him up on the way down to Washington since he's south of you when you go that way. Can you guys work that out? Save everybody a couple dollars.
Well, we meet at the Delaware rest stop. That's the key move. Going down
first stop or second stop. Yeah. It depends on who wants to do what. But that's usually the way Washington works. Sometimes going north, you'd meet it like right before you get on the turnpike there. Like there's a Bob Evans and some other stuff around
Mount Laurel.
Parking lot to meet at there.
Bob Evans in Mount Laurel has got some of the best breakfast on the face of the planet.
That's good coffee. We were talking about coffee. That Bob Evans coffee is rock solid, Jody.
Oh,
But the key carpool back in my Flyers days, if you had to go to Uniondale, you definitely wanted people with you on that because that was a miserable.
Oh, you might as well go to Ohio. You got a better chance of getting there sooner. Long Island.
Now you're bad mouthing Long Island. MJF's going to get a hold of you.
Nothing wrong with Long Island.
When you get there, nothing wrong with Long Island. But
it's the Belt Parkway.
Yeah, it's impossible to get there.
You're talking to a guy who was on the Belt Parkway 6 days a week for 5 years. Yeah. You don't have to tell me about the Belt Parkway. Hey, glad you got outside. Last year got it better than us. Your wind chimes added to the entertainment value today. Thank you very much for that. We'll certainly get back with you again in a couple of weeks.
And NJ.com, read New Les. Yes. That's how he likes to call him. New Les at NJ.com. Follow him online at Twitter at Les Bowen.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's Les Bowen here with us on